candidate has put forward are accurate, whether they are the full details and so on. And the perception in the minds of the public may end up that all the politicians are in it together, that they've all got snouts in the trough, as it were. Whether that is a fair impression or not, there is the risk that by doing this, there would be so much focus on people's personal tax affairs that that could be how it appears. OK,
Alan, thank you. And just to remind you, you can see a full list of candidates in London's mayoral elections, and that's on the BBC News website. Now, our other main story this afternoon, the leader of the Roman Catholic Church in Scotland is using his Easter message to appeal to Christians to wear a cross on their clothes as a symbol of their belief. Cardinal Keith O'Brien is a strong critic of what he believes are efforts to remove religion from public life.
The discreet symbol of belief, which Britain's most senior Roman Catholic cleric says should become more prominent in the lives of Christians. It's the latest attempt by Cardinal O'Brien to shore up what he's described as the country's Christian heritage and culture.
We have become more aware of the failures of some.
In his Easter address last year, he bitterly denounced the way in which he claimed Christians have been prevented from behaving in accordance with their beliefs about issues such as homosexuality. His call this Easter for them to display a cross comes as Nadia Owida and Shirley Chaplin, two Christian women who claim their employers discriminated against them by stopping them from wearing the symbol, prepare to take their case to the European Court of Human Rights. In his Easter homily tomorrow, Cardinal O'Brien will remind Roman Catholics of Pope Benedict's call for Christians to be free to act as their consciences dictate. Some employers have objected that even a small cross runs the risk of offending non-Christians, but Cardinal O'Brien will nevertheless suggest that Christians should wear a cross to show they're trying to live up to the principles of their religion.
I think wearing a cross for people means, I want to share myself with you. I want to share myself with wider society. I'm not going to force myself onto you, but I want to share myself where I'm accepted or available.
Cardinal O'Brien says a simple lapel cross costs less than an Easter egg and suggests them as a present to mark Christianity's most important festival. Robert Piggott, BBC News.
Well, Andrew Copson is the Chief Executive of the British Humanist Association and joins me in the studio. Good afternoon to you. Do you agree with this?
I think that people should be able to wear crosses or symbols of their religion if they wish to do so. This is a free country and people have the freedom to express their religious and non-religious beliefs in those ways. And I'm sure they'll do that whether Cardinal Keith O'Brien tells them to or not. What I think is being confused here is that freedom, which we all have, with the cases that specifically were mentioned just there, where the issue is not about the freedom of wearing a cross or religious symbol, but safety at work in the case of the nurse that was mentioned, or a uniform code that applies to everyone in the case of the British Airways employee. And there are some very specific circumstances where the wearing of a headscarf or an item of jewellery or something else might conflict with the performance of your duties, if you're a nurse or if you're required to wear a particular uniform, where I think it's perfectly legitimate for an employer to say no.
Why do you think the Cardinal has brought this up now?
Well, it's sort of becoming a tradition every Easter or Christmas to have this sort of Christians are being marginalised story come out a couple of days in advance from the Archbishop of Canterbury or the former Archbishop of Canterbury or whichever cardinal is making the press release on that occasion. I think that when you look at the claims that they make about the marginalisation of Christians in public life, they have very little basis in reality. There's very little foundation in facts for them. So I think it's quite often a tactic. I think it's a tactic to try and create a victim narrative, a narrative of persecution, a narrative of marginalisation, which is a cover for what's actually going on, which is Christian lobby groups and particular individuals like Cardinal Keith O'Brien arguing for more influence in public life, for more religious power and privilege.
So do you think that wearing a symbol actually then is asking for more recognition, no matter what that symbol might be?
I don't think wearing a symbol is really what it's about. I think that the symbol, the whole story about the symbol is a cover for this wider attempt to increase the religious voice in society. And I think you can see that in the way that the story is misrepresented. Headlines in the Mail or the Telegraph that say things like employees to be banned from wearing crosses. Even the BBC News Scotland website today, which said that the case at the European Court was about Christians being given the right to wear the cross. All these things are distortions of the reality. People do have the right to wear a cross. There isn't any sort of mass movement to try and prevent them wearing a cross. The limited instances that are taken up by Christian lobby groups and by some sections of the media of people being asked not to wear it have nothing to do with offence or trying to repress religious freedom, but are about the rights and freedoms of others and the efficiency of doing a certain job.
Just as a humanist, of course, you're coming at this from a slightly different angle as well. What sort of symbol would you wear if you would wear one?
Well, I think... well, there is a symbol called the Happy Human, which was designed in the 60s to be a sort of symbol of humanist organisations, but I don't think I'd wear that. I think rather than wearing symbols and projecting your beliefs out into society that way, I think the best symbol of your closest held beliefs is the way you live, and so I suppose the way I live, I would try and make the symbol of my beliefs.
Andrew Copson, thank you. I have a little bit of breaking news coming from the Department for Education, and this is in response to the NAS-UWT vote for strike action up to and including strike action itself later in the year. The Department for Education spokesman says, "It's absurd to say that our school reforms are a vicious assault on the teaching profession," which is the allegation from the NAS-UWT. The department said they are all about putting children first and raising standards. They continue, "We've given teachers more powers to tackle bad behaviour in the classroom and introduce new laws to protect them from malicious allegations. We're also allowing schools to run their own affairs by becoming academies, and we've slashed bureaucratic paperwork to free up teachers' time." They say, "Just continue. We're putting power back into the hands of talented heads and teachers, allowing them to get on with raising standards without interference from Whitehall or politicians." And the statement ends, "Strikes benefit no one." Now, an avalanche has struck a Pakistani military base in the Himalayas, bearing 117 soldiers. Rescue efforts are underway at the base, which lies on the remote Siachen glacier on the Pakistani border with India. A short time ago, I got an update from General Attar Abbas, who's the spokesman for the Pakistani army.
Well, the latest is that the rescue operation is on, but as you know, it is a massive slide, an avalanche of 800 meters by 600 meters in the rear headquarters.